Hey gang, welcome. My name is Trevor Beck and you are tuning in to Get Help Hangouts, where what we're doing is providing information for our Google for Education certified trainers. In the past, we've had that small group just to be able to check these Hangouts out, but now we're going to open it up to the general public so anyone can learn from what we're trying to learn as well. My name is Trevor Beck. I'm a Google certified trainer. I'm located here in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. And we're going to start doing our introductions. I'm going to start off on the far right with Allison. If you'd like to start, please.
Hi, my name is Allison Malika. I'm here on the East Coast, and I'm a Google certified trainer, and looking forward to working with a lot of other Google certified trainers in 2017.
Amy?
Hey, how are you guys? This is Amy Mayer from Texas, and I'm also a Google certified trainer. And I would love to keep in touch with you guys. Maybe we can connect on Twitter or Google+. And I'm going to talk to you today about formative assessment with the new Google Forms.
Wonderful. David?
Hi trainers, my name is David Chen. I'm the program manager of the Certified Trainer program. I sit in Mountain View. I'm currently just out here visiting friends and family in the East Coast, and really looking forward to growing this program next year in 2017.
And Justin?
Hey trainers, I'm Justin. I work with David on the Certified Trainer program. I am also located in Mountain View right now. Later on in this hangout, I'll be talking about the recertification process that we launched out this morning. So when that time comes around, I'll make sure to give you guys all of the details and let you guys know where you guys can find everything you'll need to know for the process.
Excellent. Thanks, guys, for joining us. So for anyone that's watching right now, if you are interested on the YouTube page in the top right-hand corner, there's a chat function there. Go ahead, you can chat among the other viewers that are going to be participating. If you have any questions, can you put them in the comment field down below the video? That also allows us not only to look at it while we're doing this live, but if anyone asks questions after the fact, we can still answer them, and all those answers and questions are all captured in the same place. So we're going to start off with a recap. Allison's going to be kind enough to share her screen so we can do some screen share. And we're going to talk about what's kind of been happening in the last little while here. Excellent. Thank you, Allison. Okay, so go to the next. So here's what we're going to do first. We're going to go have a recap. We're going to talk about what's new or what's been happening lately. We're going to hear from Amy about the advanced forms tutorial that she's did. We're also going to take a look at trainer-submitted resources, some great resources that trainers like yourselves have been submitting, and we want to make sure those resources float to the top so people can make use of them. And then some shout-outs of some of the activities that trainers are going to be doing. Next slide. Thank you. So let's start with a recap. For the trainers that have signed up for it, you can look at the Google for Education roadmap for the Q4. Now, the roadmap is only available to certified trainers by invitation. The information is available in our Google group. So if you need to get any more information about that, you can go in there and see the confidential video on what's going to be happening in the near future. For those of you that didn't get a chance, the education and there's all sorts of different trainers from all around the world. It was basically almost like 36 hours of trainer after trainer after trainer doing some really cool stuff. Amy, you were part of that. How was your session?
Well, it was great. I really enjoyed it a lot. It's extremely stressful, but it was also a lot of fun. So I'm going to reprise that today in about a fraction of the time. So that'll be even more stressful and thus more fun.
It's all about the challenge.
Right.
Trainers as well, we also have a Google Hangout survey. So what we want to do is hear from you guys what you want to see in this training session. We've got some great suggestions over the time. It's basically just a Google Doc. You can go in and you can do your editing and stuff, but we want to hear from you what you want to learn. So it's not just us lecturing you or telling you what we think you should know. We want to hear exactly what you guys are interested in. And that's our recap. So the next thing we're going to take a look at is what's new. And we're going to look at product updates. And I'm going to turn this over to David for this part. Go ahead,
Thanks,
David.
Trevor. So over the last month, the product team has released a number of updates and launches that we really wanted to apprise you guys of. Some of these I think are very welcome, and we're really excited to share with you guys so that you can share with the educators that you're working with. The first product update is that Citations have returned. Now you're able to create citations inside your Google Docs, Google Slides, and any other of the word processing that you use with your educators in the traditional citation formats, MLA, and so forth. So feel free to visit this Help Center to figure out how to do that. Secondly, the product marketing team really released some really great case studies over the last month. Over the last 17 months, we worked with a research group and we developed some case studies on some specific districts and how using technology has impacted their academics and their student performance. And we've released those on our google.com/edu website, and I really encourage you guys to take a look. And I think there's some really awesome snippets of just how districts have been experiencing more positive student outcomes, ranging from student attendance to student grades to teacher performance. And yeah, maybe one of your districts are even featured in there. So this is a great resource to share with some of your teachers who might be still thinking about, hey, how is this going to actually benefit my students' learning? And the last thing I'd like to share with you guys is the graduation. So this is something I think that we it's one of those things that we should have had yesterday, but it's good to have today, which is the ability for us to transfer now data from a student's Google G Suite account to their personal account once they graduate. So migrating all their docs and all of their information, all the work that they've been working so hard over the last many years of their student careers, and putting it over into their gmail.com account. And so that's a really great way for students to kind of archive and keep the things that really matter to them as they move into college. And with that, I'll turn it over to Allison, who will explain some of the updates to the inbox for EDU.
All right, sorry. Okay, I was just making sure that my volume was on. I couldn't remember if I had turned it off or not. I just wanted to mention, as part of the what's new, is that this came in pretty quietly, is that we have inbox now available for EDU organizations, which was not available before. And this past fall, I've learned that many educators don't know that inbox exists. So I just wanted to, as a public service announcement, make you aware that Inbox is Gmail's, a different version of Gmail. There's Gmail, and then if you just go to inbox.google.com in any browser, you'll come to this new interface. And I want to just make reference to the fact that this new inbox syncs with reminders and Google Keep. Also, if you have any trips and you're getting emails about airfare or airline reservations or hotels, they bundle your trips. And there's an app for trips as well. So like Google Trips, you can put on your phone and you can download all those materials to be available to you offline in case you're going somewhere where you won't have immediate access to the internet. Bringing it up, I noticed that also a lot of admins didn't know that they needed to either turn it on or off. If you go into your Gmail settings, go into advanced settings in the admin panel, that's where you can select to turn on or off the inbox option, and you can learn a little bit more about it. So here it has Inbox by Gmail. You can enable it, and there's a couple of things. For example, you can't do the auto response, but it's just good to know that it's there. It's synced with some of the newer intelligence apps that Google's been sending out, and I think this will be very helpful for trainers going into next year who are going to inevitably come across questions about it and want to know how to answer it. So that's really all I wanted to share.
Great there, Allison. Thank you very much. I've got a quick question coming in. Butch is asking, does graduation copy or move the data over? And David, I'll let you answer because I know the answer, but you go ahead.
I believe it's just a migration. It's a simple migration of all the data from the G Suite account over to the gmail.com account. So I'm not exactly sure if the G Suite account, it's up to the school, I think, to whether they want to deprecate that student's G Suite account. But in any case, the data is migrated over through Google Takeout, which many of you guys might be using already to migrate that data into the personal.
Excellent. And again, a reminder just in the chat there, for some reason, comments aren't working. So just if you have questions in the chats, and we'll try and address them as we go along. David, you also want to talk to us about Google Classroom Experts Group.
That's right. So I've been working pretty closely with the Google Classroom team, and what they've graciously extended an invitation to the Certified Trainer Group to us join, for you guys to be able to join their Google Experts Group. Essentially what this is a group of Google Classroom experts who have been using Google Classroom for, since the product came out in 2015. And this is a great opportunity to kind of get involved in the product stage of classroom development. And so, as you know, Classroom's always developing new updates, new features, and they use a lot of time, they spend a lot of time going through like user feedback. And so if you want to get involved and work with the Classroom team more closely and provide, feedback for the next iteration of Google Classroom, we, think this is a great opportunity. So we'll send out the slides after our show, and within the slides there will be a form for you guys to fill out to join that community. And yeah, again, this is a great opportunity again to just get closer to the product and get a little bit, that sneak peek to what's next.
Excellent. Thank you very much. So one thing that's very important to us trainers is certification and recertification. So obviously there's lots of things you need to do to keep up your certification. You've got these resources that you need to be contributing to the common folder, and the certain number of presentations and learnings or trainings that you need to do a year. But we also need to keep up to speed on what the new tools are doing to make sure we're recertified. And Justin's going to talk to us about that now.
Thank you, Trevor. So as you guys might have already seen in the Google group or even on the private trainer site, we launched recertification for 2017 this morning. So recertification, there's two new components here that we've added. So in total, there's 3 steps you'll need to take in order for you to be recertified in 2017. So the first step is to report 12 training sessions on the EDU activity app. And this app was launched this year. So many of you, if not all of you guys, are already on this app. So you'll just want to make sure that you report the 12 trainings that you're responsible for. But if you were onboarded in 2016, there are prorated sessions that you'll need to submit. So all of this information is on the FAQs doc that is also linked in the recertification message that I sent out this morning. The second part of recertification is to review the product update assessment study guide there that Allison is opening up right now. Here you'll see all the product updates that we've sent out to you guys in the past 2 newsletters this year. So everything in there is fair game for the product update exam. Now for the actual product update exam, this exam is hosted on Google Forms. It's a 20-question exam, multiple choice and a true and false, and you'll need to get at least 15 out of the 20 right in order for you to pass this component. And the last part of recertification is to submit 1 doc on the shared resource database on the private trainer site. So if you haven't already done that this year, please submit at least 1, and then we'll track those resources when we close recertification next month. So this whole process is opened from December 20th to January 20th. So you'll have 1 month to complete all 3 requirements here. One big part of recertification this year that is new is we built out an FAQ page that is linked on the original message on a Google Groups, and also on the private trainer site. So a lot of questions come in regarding recertification. So if you're unclear about any of the steps here, or have any questions in regards to each of the 3 components, please check out that FAQ page. And that FAQ page is something that we're going to be adding to throughout this month. So yeah, so we really appreciate all the work that you've done this year with the trainer program. And this recertification process is just for us to see all of the hours that you guys have put into this program, and for you guys to also be accountable for all the product updates that we send out. And then at the end of recertification in January, we'll assess all of the requirements that you guys have submitted, and then in the beginning of February, we'll send out recertification notifications to let you know on the status of your trainer certification. So if you have any questions, please send us an email or shoot a message on the thread in the Google Groups, and then we'll continue to add on to the FAQ page if anything comes up. But yep, in the meantime, please feel free to do those 3 components, and we'll circle back to you guys at the beginning of February.
Great, thanks very much, Justin. Yeah, so remember, make sure you guys, you only have a month, so make sure that you are till January 20th, so make sure you get that certification done, okay? It's really important for all of you. So that's pretty much the short stuff. What we want to do now is do a little bit of deep dive into some learning stuff. And we're going to talk to Amy, who's our guest presenter. Amy did present at the Google's Education on Air session, so she's going to be doing her session with us today. Amy, would you like to introduce yourself again and tell us more, please? But she is muted. She's a very quiet woman.
No, I'm actually not, but thanks. So I know you guys are probably noticing that Trevor has this really cool little lower third thing down there, and some of us couldn't get ours to work today, so I made my own. I hope that's coming through. I probably can't hold it like this the whole entire time though, so maybe you can get that down and we can connect on social media. So my name online is Fried Technology. And since I can't go through my whole entire Education on Air session today, I thought it might actually be more interesting to you guys anyway to talk about how versus what's actually in it, because I feel that you guys have probably looked at the new features of forms, but maybe what you're more interested in is how can we best teach these new features to teachers in a way that will help them go back and implement them in their classrooms. So I thought we would talk about that today, and I'm going to screen share with you so that we can look at my application window. And can you guys see that okay?
Yeah, there it is now.
Okay, great. So this is just the presentation that I use for Education on Air. I had previously used it when I was working with teachers. If you want to check it out up close, then this is the URL for it. It's fried.tech/F T -formative with a capital F again. So I always try to give people a link to my presentation when I'm working with them, because I know that if I just have a presentation on the screen, I can only put so much information on a slide. But if I let people have it right in front of them, I can really have a lot of deep information so that they can go back and learn more later, or maybe they missed something and that material will be there for them. I also always try to give them my contact information, which hopefully you see in front of you now, because I don't want this to be a one-time thing. I don't want to be their teacher for 1 hour when they come to a conference and then they never see or hear from me again. I want to stay connected. So it's important to always share this with people. The first part of this presentation, so I know you guys know that forms now can be used as quizzes, but with every Google feature that comes out, it's a chance for us to talk to teachers about good instruction. So we never want to assume, for example, that teachers know the term formative assessment. I remember when the term differentiated instruction came out, and the people in the school district where I was working at the time used that term for probably a good 6 or 8 months before somebody finally raised their hand and said, "What does that mean?" And then we finally started getting an explanation of it. So I don't ever want to assume. I want to tell people, I think you probably know what this means, but let's just go over it just to make sure. So sort of some background information for them. So I give them just a kind of an overview of what the new features are, things that I think they might be interested in, and primarily we're working with the quizzes and forms feature. So I have them now take a quiz, and you guys can do this too if you're watching today or you want to play along, but I'll show you what the quiz does. So I'm asking teachers to take the quiz that's linked on the slide. Remember, if they've followed directions, they're in this slide presentation, so they don't really have to type in that short URL. They can just click on it at this point. So I'm going to remind them of that, because that's a technique they can use in their classroom also. And so we want to learn that kind of meta stuff at the same time. So I want to get them to my quiz, and I want to get them to take it first as a student. I want them to see the feature, and I want to build anticipation for how do you do that. That's really cool. I think that I want to use this in my classroom. So first they're going to take this quiz. Remember, I've asked them to get all the answers wrong. Now, I've already told them what the answers are, so they can get them wrong because they know the right answers. We've actually gone over every single thing on the quiz already. I also want to show them some newer features, like, for example, putting in a picture as an answer choice. So these are just a couple of animated GIFs that I put in there so that they could see that that's possible. And when they take the quiz, they're going to have a chance to see their score immediately, because that's how I set the quiz up. So this is my, I just took the quiz right before we got on, so you guys could see it and see how this looks. So I've provided feedback here on each of the questions, and this is what I want to draw the teacher's attention to at this point in the training. So I want to get them clicking on this link, which is going to go to a YouTube video about formative assessment. Then I want to get them talking about how could you use this in your classroom, and, really kind of maybe geek out over the feature and the possibilities of it. This kind of feedback, so I'm showing them a different option here. I'm just giving them some text as feedback. And then the third time, the same. So I'm just sort of showing them some different ways that they can do feedback using the forms. So I'm going to flip back over now to this presentation and take a look at what I provided in here, because remember, they're going to have this later. So I just created an animated GIF of my form so that they could go back and kind of remember what those options are. Maybe it's been, a couple of weeks since they came to the session. So this is new for teachers, and I know that this is going to cause people problems because it's not something they're used to doing when they make a form. So I'm going to try to address potential misconceptions right here on this slide, and then I'm going to walk them through setting it up. I like to have people watch me do it on the screen first, and then practice doing it. Now, I try to always remember to say, if you're fast at these things and you don't want to wait for me, don't let me hold you back. Go ahead and dive right in there and see if you can figure it out, and I'll walk around and help. But if you're a little bit more hesitant, then stick with me and let's look at this together first, and then you guys will try it on your own. So I want to try to have them make something that they can use in their classroom tomorrow, because what I know is if they use this feature immediately, then it's a lot more likely to stick, and they're more likely to be able to continue using the feature. So then I would just take them to the form. I would probably go back to the same form that we used together. Then they're not looking at, oh, this is different. What does this mean? So it's just something that's familiar to them already. I show them how I click the pencil to go into the edit mode and then point out this settings gear in the top right. So this is really what's going to be critical for us setting up a quiz. So then I would pop over here and show them how we can turn on make this a quiz, show them what the settings were for the quiz they just took. So for what we just did, we released immediately after submission. We might talk about when we want to do later after manual review, because there are some classes of kids, if I release this immediately, you know, chaos will break out because kids want to compare grades and things like that. But for our purposes, we can do immediately. And then we want to talk about what students can or can't see. Based on our instructional needs, we might choose different answers, but at least they can see how these options look when they take my quiz, which they've already experienced. Well, this is really hard without anybody asking questions. Does anybody who's in our little group have any questions so far?
I don't. I just shared on Twitter a couple of your tips already.
Oh, thank you very much, Allison. I appreciate it. So I have another screenshot that shows some different options that you can choose, just so they can maybe remember that later on. And then I put in here nice and big what the answer key setup looks like. Of course, we're going to walk through this in the session and look at it together, but having a slide about it gives us a chance to see it really big in case it's not quite this big on my screen. And then I can have this up there when they're setting their answer key up so they can look at mine and maybe gain some confidence that way. Setting point values. So we want to go back and remember that formative assessment is not about getting a grade in the grade book. It's about informing teaching. So the person who gets graded with formative assessment is the teacher, not the student. So while we want to show the feature, which is that we can add points, we also want to remember that formative assessment is for us and not for the kids. So just an important kind of instructional point. And then this really important part, we want to show how to offer feedback. So if teachers are in a school where YouTube is available, YouTube is an amazing way to reteach. So maybe it's a math concept and you didn't get it today when we talked about it in class, and you need to learn from a different teacher. So I can send you to YouTube to somebody that I know is quality at teaching this. Maybe they teach it in a different way than I do. And now my students have a chance to just click that link and maybe learn it from someone else. And maybe that time it works for them. So that's a really exciting feature. So this training would end with a mini challenge. I want them to sort of work on this on their own now. So I would give them some challenge questions. So this would walk them through all the different features that I wanted them to learn and have them actually create something that hopefully they can use in class tomorrow. And then I want to have people turn it in. So on number 7, you'll see you can click on a link and you can go to a response spreadsheet. I like that technique because sometimes even when we're doing adult learning, we have people who maybe aren't that motivated to be in our session. You know, maybe somebody told them they had to come, and so they're there, but their heart's really not in it. When they find out that, oh, I have to turn something in, sometimes people get a little bit more motivated. And sometimes the administrators who have maybe hired me or had me come and talk to their teachers say, I want people to actually do something to get credit. It no longer is just acceptable to sit in a session and be there, and that gives you credit. I want to see that they've done something. And I love that idea. So having a mini challenge where you know people are completing the steps that you've talked about is really a great technique to do that. On the very last slide, this is an embedded YouTube video. So if I went into present mode, we would see a play button there in the middle. This goes back over really all the important points that we've talked about during the session. This is important because a lot of people who are maybe not that fast with technology, really can't take in this much information in that perhaps 45, 50-minute session after school. People are tired, they have other things they're thinking about right now. But if they're dedicated and they want to come back and learn this later, then we gave them a way to do that. So we provided some differentiation of our own. Sometimes I'll have a teacher in a training who will put headphones in and I'll think, what are you doing over there? Is everything going okay? And I go and look over their shoulder and they're on the last slide and they're watching the video and they're clicking along, which that's great. I totally get that people like to learn in different ways, and I want to provide them the opportunity to do that. So that's how I teach the new features of forms, and also maybe kind of sneakily get in some other instructional methods or philosophy that I think is really best practice at the same time. So I hope that helps you. Maybe you got a couple of ideas. I'd love to hear your ideas. So if you guys are out there teaching forms in a different way, teaching this feature in a different way, the best thing we can do is share all those different techniques that we've found that really work for people, and learn from each other, because that's how we all get stronger. So thanks for having me. And Trevor, thanks for giving me this time. And I think my time's almost up. So
hold up your lower third, Amy.
No, say that again.
Hold up your lower third again.
I really need to get that up there every time my face is on. So yeah.
Okay. So some people were asking about the link to your slide deck. Can you put that in that show notes document that I've shared with you?
Yes, I sure will.
Okay, and for everyone else, at the description below this video, there is a link there to our show notes. We'll put all the links and stuff that's going to be in there. As well, you can always wait till we're done and rewind the video and watch it, because she put it up at the front there as well. So we have all that information there. Not any questions yet. Butch Wilson says that your formative assessment slide is a nice slide. You put nice in all caps.
Thank you. Thanks.
Any other questions from our group?
I just want to mention that there is a question about from Joy that you, Trevor, are just about to answer for Justin. But we're going to paste the answer in the chat from Justin. How do we get on the list to receive the newsletters that had the product updates and other information on them? So, yeah, we have an answer to that, but Justin, please.
Yeah, so all trainers will receive the will all receive the quarterly newsletter, as long as they're part of the Google group. The newsletter and the product updates are also always updated on the private trainer site. So yeah, so for any of these resources or any of these newsletters or anything about the program, you could always go to the private site and they'll always be updated there. There was also a question from Megan, I think, asking if you could take the recertification exam multiple times. I think there was, yeah, I think there's a disconnect there, because I think you guys are referring to the Google Certified Educator, the level 1 and the level 2. That you could take multiple times every 24 months. But those exams are not the recertification exam. So the recertification exam is a product update exam, which is not the same as the level 1 and the level 2. So to clear that up, I'll add that question to the FAQ doc.
Okay, excellent. Thank you very much. Anyone else have anything else they want to talk about before we move on to the next section?
I like the way that Amy presented information about the topic, but also how to train on the topic and in strategies. So if you were looking for forms information and missed some of the great suggestions she had, like one of the things I think is a great tip is don't assume teachers know things. Everybody doesn't know everything, and not everybody's following the same trend. There's so many trends in education. There's so many buzzwords. There's so many initiatives. You know, one district is hugging the growth mindset, and the other district, you know, someone's never heard of it, and they go, "What are you talking about?" And it's fair to not know. It's fair. It's okay. So I like that you pointed that out, because sometimes as trainers we feel like we need to hurry up and get the show on the road, and we leave a little people behind before we even get started. So that to me was a great takeaway.
Thank you very much. I totally agree with you. And I know because I'm usually the person looking around at everybody like, do you know what she's talking? Do you know? And I'm the one who says, what does that word mean? And, you know, so I've been that person enough times to know I better say.
Yep. No, I think it's great. I think that the other thing, we have time to share it. So on that point, until Google comes up with a solution, which may be in the works. I don't have any inside knowledge. I'm just kind of like those, I hope, and then things happen. And I think that maybe my prayers came true. But a forced sign-in for Chrome. When you're out there training, we assume that everyone's using Chrome. So you start the training, and I can't tell you how many times I had to go through this before I finally got it in my brain that I needed to start my training with, okay, so today is a day that you're going to divorce all your other browsers and marry Chrome. Now, it can be a friendly divorce, and you can visit those other browsers now and then, but you need to, if you don't have Chrome, you need to install it now. And I would like to have a forced sign-in to Chrome. That would be my wish. That's what I'm hoping for, so that we don't have to go through the steps to have them sign into Chrome. But just keeping that in mind as trainers, that's especially if you're new, if you're just starting out, that's super important, because you'll go to do use the CAST shared classroom, and somebody's not getting it, and you're trying to troubleshoot why they're not getting it, and they're not getting it because they're using Safari. So,
and I think
that's a great point, Allison, about logging in. And I know the Chromebooks team is really trying to do some more product development around logging in more easily. And so one of the things that we actually have launched from the Chromebook side is easy logins for younger years students. Now, students who are using clever badges, so like just I think a QR code, they put it up to the camera of their computers, and then they automatically get logged into their Chromebook. So I think we will see something down the road, hopefully down kind of more easier access to logging into your Chromebooks. But if any of the teachers listening are working with younger years, it's a great way of just getting the students to have to be able to log in without having to memorize their password or sign in with their username.
Very cool.
And I have my clever badge. I signed up and I have one. So I can just, I'm lazy.
So I'm going to ask a quick question about that, Allison. Then do you actually have to get an account with Clever Badge, or?
I think I did. I do everything so fast that I tend to lose track of how I did it or what it involved. I just know that the email came and I said, I got to try that out. So now I have me a badge.
You almost need to record your screen like 24/7
all the time. Yeah, I know.
And I wanted to point out the comment that Allison made about Amy saying that you can't assume that everything the teachers know everything. That's the same thing with the trainers. Brand new trainers come in, and sometimes like they've gone through the certification level 1 and 2, and they come into the trainer. Not everyone knows everything. And we shouldn't assume that even our trainers that we're working with know everything and the ins and outs, especially when we start talking about add-ons and stuff that aren't part of the core tools that Google provides us. So those are really good points that I want to mention, that as trainers, don't feel you can't learn from somebody else. Don't feel just because you've got that certification that now you know it all. Because Allison and I have, we've been working on these things for the last year or so, and we're always constantly learning from different tricks and stuff like that. Especially for someone like me, I'm a trainer, but I actually don't teach full-time anymore. So there's things that pop up that I don't get to address anymore. But when I hear it from Allison or Amy or someone else, it's like, wow, that's really cool. I wish I was teaching again. So please be aware that it's always a learning experience.
Right, and collaborative too. And I think that a good Butch Wilson, you are a good example, because he just answered the question. Yes, you do have to have a Clever account and then tie the student accounts to the QR images. And collaboration in a training, I always say to the people that come to learn from me that I learn more from them. I'll be giving a training and I'll learn from so many different things as I'm doing the training. And as a new trainer, don't feel pressured that you have to know everything. You do not. Google is you know, it's just a tangled web. And there's so many facets and so many ways to do things and so many different applications with so many different options that it really is, you lead the way, and really you're that lead learner and facilitator, and welcome collaboration from your trainees. You're going to have a handful of them, and any experienced trainer knows, very experienced people coming into a boot camp that can fly through it, maybe answer a few questions that you don't know. So be comfortable in that collaborative spirit, because it makes training a lot more fun.
Excellent, thank you. Okay, let's move on to the next section. We're going to talk about some trainer submitted resources. So again, as part of that certification, trainers, we have to put in submit a resource every year. And you know, a lot of people forget about that resource. So we want to try and highlight what some people are doing. And this week we are looking at Alexander MacDougal had submitted a complete guide to Google sharing. It's a single-page poster that the trainers can access through the training. What's the word I'm looking for?
Shared database.
Yes, the shared database. Thank you. And I'm just going to actually my screen won't behave. There we are. But here's the document here, and as you can see, it's a nice long page. It's a scroll, but it's got all the different situations, like, you know, are you looking for edit or commenting? So what are the different accesses they're going to have? Who are the different people? What are some of the ways we can tie that down? It's a great one piece that if you're doing a sharing class, by all means make use of it, and then pass that on to you know, to your students, and they can learn from it. Nice piece. I just found it last week and I really like it. I'm going to start using it as well.
I like it too, the way that it's written. It's really conversational. It's not just, you know, part A, part B, part C. The way that he has like the little talking points, the talking bubbles come out, and the questions that are answered in progression. It's an easy read and very engaging. So I think those are a couple of things I pull from it, not just content.
Yeah, and it reminds you too that you don't just have to submit slides. So, you know, like what 95% of what you see in the resource database are slides, and that's great. There's nothing wrong with that, but it's a creative take to make an infographic. You know, it's just a different kind of resource to have in there, and so useful.
And I think it is a slide. I mean, it
probably is.
That's worthy of pointing out too, is I overlook that, and I think many people may not know. You can make a slide any dimension you want, or you can change the dimensions of the slide. And so if you want to make an infographic, you can. And I was working with some people in school that were making web pages. So they were doing a long slide, like an infographic, and putting all their web content and inserting it on a website before the Google News sites came out, because 6 teachers could collaborate on a slide. And I thought that's a brilliant use of slides. So this one, I believe, is a slide that was then downloaded as a PDF. And that's...
I always like to challenge people to think of these tools, the traditional uses, and then think of something different, you know. And the Google Slides, I don't think gets enough credit for the fact that everyone sticks with a 16:9 or 4:9, and there is so much more. Like you can make the posters for doing poster reviews, and you know, getting the commenting feedback from it. You've got the websites, you've got all sorts of different things to use them. And I challenge people as you're using these tools, think outside the box, try and find something different.
And I want to make just a quick comment about the shared resource database. I just also spent some time really going through it and browsing through it, and it's so amazing what you guys put on the site. I mean, I think some of the things here are just so original, and so creative, and so comprehensive and informative that would be really remiss to kind of reinvent the wheel for a lot of trainers. So highly encourage you guys just to go through, and if not, just use it. I think everyone's putting it out there in goodwill so that it can be repurposed for your own training uses, but even iterate on it and let it inspire you. So really think that the shared resource database is going to continue growing, and I think we have so much great content in here. And I have a question actually for the group, Trevor, Amy, and Allison. What would your guys' recommendation be for the best way to find really good resources? I know, Trevor, how did you kind of happen upon Alexander's resource, and how, what's a good way of just kind of filtering?
Well, for me, I just took a look at you know, I started off with looking for in our resource list and just wanted something that was common to everyone, because we all do sharing, and it's one thing that I find people just don't understand that concept very well. So I wanted to find another resource that would help me better than what Google provides and some of the other stuff. Because some people are more text visual, some people like a YouTube video, and so that's how I end up finding Alexander's.
And I'm doing a screen share while you guys are talking, so about that.
Oh, thanks. I don't know, you guys, if what I see in my Google Drive is from a legacy program. Didn't we used to have a folder and we put things into the resource folder, and that folder is still shared with me, but I don't know if it's synced up with what's on this website. But all that to say that when I go into my Google Drive and search a topic, I get tons and tons of resources that just come up right in my Google Drive. And, you know, so I really know how to type owner me or owner not me, because sometimes I'm looking for something I made and sometimes I'm looking for a resource that one of you guys has submitted, so that I can, you know, like you said, David, build on what someone else has already done and not reinvent the wheel.
Right.
Yeah, those files are probably from the legacy.
Mm-hmm.
And the idea, I think, what was to happen is we brought a front end in so you could actually filter and search, which is what Allison has up on her screen right now. So I think the idea was trainers were supposed to submit those existing records and files into this database, so we'd have more of a searchable piece. But like you said, it's just great when all you can do, or all you need to do, is just sit there and within Google Drive do a search, not me, and then pull up those resources. We have
right.
Sorry, go ahead, Allison.
I just wanted to highlight before we change the topic is for many, I see a lot of conversations in the Google Trainer directory, the listserv, and very often folks are having trouble finding things. Where do I submit my resource? How do I find these things? I can't get to the site. I would highly recommend that you, once you get to your certified trainer program site, that you just drag and drop it to your bookmark somewhere for easy access. And if you right click on anything on your bookmarks bar and you hit edit, you can name it anything you want. So I have mine there called GCT, and boom, it's right up there. So I can click on it and it's there anytime I need it. The second thing is under tools and resources, where you can find the shared resources. And as David pointed out, what this can be good for is not just, oh, I need a slide deck. Like Amy said, there's lots of slide decks here. However, if you're just doing random searches, I see people asking for ideas on training, training topics, formats, strategy, all of those things you can find here. You can see how people are delivering. You can see maybe activities that they have set up for people to do. Agendas and even topics. You'll find things on the cloud, you know, the benefits of cloud-based technology. So here's one-to-one to do in class, and then what the actual product offers. So think of it as not just a grab and go, but if you're stymied for ideas and you need some inspiration, this is a great way to maybe help yourself crowdsource some ideas for yourself while you're putting together a training.
Excellent. Okay, next, we got a few minutes left yet, so David is going to talk to our next section on trainer shoutouts.
Yeah, well, it's the end of the year, and we just, I think, want to take a moment to kind of reflect and celebrate ourselves. I think everyone in the community is doing such amazing things for educators around the world. But I think one tradition we'll want to do moving forward is just highlighting some trainers who have really kind of, stepped into the limelight and done some really great things in a scalable manner. And so for this month, I wanted to highlight 4 certified trainers who I've personally worked with and who have done some really great work helping educators learn our tools in a scaled way. And these 4 certified trainers, what they all have in common, Chrystal Ho, Katie Aquino, Jeff Bradbury, and Lori Hauer, is that they all presented at the EU On Air conference in 2016. Amy, I should probably put you up there as well, and we can.
Where
do
am
that.
I, David?
you know, well,
Me
we'll
too.
have you up there and very shortly. We'll send you out, put you on there when we send the slides out again. And all of these trainers, they did a great job of presenting on a range of topics and a range of products. Some of them presented on Inbox Zero, how to get an Inbox Zero for Gmail. I think Chrystal presented on using Google Sheets. Lori presented on creating student portfolios. And I think Katie talked about the writing process using G Suite. So again, just if you see these trainers around, make sure to just give them a pat on their back, and thank you guys so much for all the work that you guys are doing in general for the certified trainer community. And we'll kind of I'll keep a lookout if you meet a trainer, if you hear from a trainer who you think is doing a really great work, please do reach out to me and nominate them, and we'd love to feature them in our next Hangout as well. So just, you know, a positive note to end the year. Great job to the 4 trainers, and of course to the entire certified trainer community. Really proud to be part of this and working with you guys this past year.
Excellent. And that brings us about 10 minutes to the hour. So I think we'll just do a quick check to see if there are any other questions there.
While you're doing that, I have something I'd like to say.
Go ahead.
Is that all right? Okay. I just want to say to David and Justin that I've been in this program and I've worked with a lot of the Google for Education team, all who are absolutely wonderful. I also want to say that this past year has been amazing for the trainers. I know that we feel a lot closer to the EDU team, more supported, and there's more interaction and I think it makes it more real, and it helps us as trainers stay more connected. So I want to thank both of you for everything that you do to help us out and to make the program meaningful. And I think that I can speak for a lot of people that were more looking forward to being certified trainers in 2017 and really excited about all the goodness to come. And thank you.
Thank you so much, Allison. Thank you, Trevor, you both of you, and Nick and Amy, for creating this wonderful resource for trainers. I can speak for, I think, Justin and myself that we're really excited for the upcoming year, and especially welcoming a new batch of trainers very shortly in January, new faces and new experiences to add to this wonderful community. So 2017 is very exciting, and we're looking forward to continuing the great work that we're all doing.
Excellent. And just a reminder, everyone, when we ask for your feedback in the Google groups or something like that, please take the time to give us the feedback, because that's what allows us as trainers to be involved with what's going on with the guys at Google there. I mean, that's the involvement that Allison was referring to. And if we don't take advantage of that, then really, you have nothing to complain about if things aren't going your way. All right. And I think that's pretty much it. I don't see any major questions that we need to address right at the moment. So again, in the show notes will be in the link here for the description. If you have any questions, I'll try and get the comment field working again for the video. Other than that, guys, want to say goodbye?
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Happy New Year.
That's right. Merry Christmas.
Happy holidays and Happy New Year.